What's going on, everybody? Doc Average Gamer Guys back. More Escape from Tarkov action. Jumping into another weapon testing. So, I hope I have a good one here for you today. This is a gun I've actually had on my radar. I have used a decent amount, I would say, over the course of the wipe, picking it up, having some fun with it, and just dawned on me as I was taking a scroll through some weapons and thinking about what I wanted to do next. What we got here for you today is the SAG AK. So this is a new single shot AK. I've run a couple of times with this on stream and used this in a couple of different capacities, and I actually really enjoyed this weapon. So I'm a little biased on today's weapon testing, but I'm gonna give this a go. What I wanted to do, what you're looking at right here, is there are two different versions of this weapon. If you're not familiar, it's a 545 by 39. So it's running your Eagle Nick, your BS, your BP, your BT, and it is, the biggest difference is it is single fire. The rate of fire on this thing, about 650, but this thing absolutely slays with the muzzle velocity of 939. I've really enjoyed this when I've used it. And like I said, I'm coming into this one normally I'm not as biased as I am when it comes to this, but like I said, I've run this a handful of times. So what you're looking at here, we have two different versions. I'm going to show you. You can pick these up from Skier. There are two different versions. There's a short version and there's a standard carbine version. I wanted to take a look, mod both of these out just to show what the difference is. Basically, the only difference is total ergonomics. You get slightly better ergonomics, but you're going to see we have the exact same modifications on both guns without a magazine inserted. Vertical recoil, horizontal recoil. You can get this thing, you can get it lower. I want to just clarify this. You can get it lower by changing out your foregrip here. However, exactly the same as you can see on screen. You do pick up, again, better ergonomics. Now, the MOA is also slightly different. So our long barrel version is going to have a better MOA of 1.11 versus 1.62. So you're essentially sacrificing a little bit of accuracy for a couple of additional points of ergonomics. Outside of that, virtually no difference. Weight-wise, your carbine version is about 2.2 kilograms, exactly 0.2 kilograms more as well. So there's a couple of trade-offs. Please do consider that as we jump in. If you're like, oh, I'm going to try this out, which one should I buy? It's really up to you what you want to use it for. Obviously, a short barrel version is going to be a little bit better if you plan on going inside at all. You know, pushing dorms, if you're running this on customs or doing anything like that, you're going to have a little bit easier time clearing with that version versus a long barrel version. So just consider that. Keep that in mind if you run on shoreline, etc., etc. Outside of that, this gun, really cool. Really good for the most part, pretty good modification options, although you're not changing out a ton of stuff. That's the other thing that's actually kind of enticed me. I fully expect whenever we see a new weapon entered into the world of Tarkov, initially its modification options aren't always crazy. And then as later wipes come and updates and things like that, we see some additional modifications come to it. So for this handguard, really you can't change it out, at least nothing that I could find. Can't do a whole lot with the stock either at this point. You can obviously swap what stock you want to put on it, but you can't change outside of that. You really can't change your stock options. There's no a different attachment point, things like that. So do keep that in mind. But here's how we have this one set up, and there's a specific reason for this. I'm going to be running woods today to check out and give this weapon a go. Two things. One, I want to be able to test both range and both short and long range distances. You can see we've got a Vortex Razor on this thing, one of my favorite sights, and we're obviously going suppressed. I'm also going to be partnering this weapon testing up with trying to get a couple of kills where we don't use any armor. It's a later game task. I'm closing in on Kappa here. I'm looking to get the experience. I want to get this quest done as well. So any PMC kills that we do pick up will obviously benefit us a couple of different ways by being able to get a few things done. So results may vary when you go to use this. I may just absolutely get one tapped in the chest a few times. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Hopefully this isn't foreshadowing to that, but we're going to give that a go. Outside of that, this is the build here. The crazy thing is, you can see the high amount of ergonomics that we're able to get on this gun, in addition with really good recoil stats. Now, obviously being single shot, this is going to be much more controllable comparative to anything that's fully automatic or obviously burst, and we should be able to put rounds on target relatively effectively. That being said, we should still want to kind of prioritize a little bit of recoil, but ergonomics is going to be huge for ability to pull up, get on target very quickly, and be able to put some accurate shots down. Nothing too crazy here as far as modifications, but definitely took it as far as I could to the limit and just use some of my favorite things. This AGS 74 Custom Arms Pro Sniper Kit pistol grip is actually best in slot. I've talked about this in a previous video. Plus 14 ergonomics is just absolutely insane. It is better than the RK and a couple other things for those that are a little bit familiar, so do look out for this. It's not too expensive either. And then I am using an SE5. I've actually come to really like this foregrip. I think it's one of the best when it comes to some recoil as well as ergonomics overall. Cost-wise, not too bad. You could, again, go like an RK1 if you wanted to prioritize even more recoil while still having extremely high ergonomics. So do keep that in mind. And then I am going suppressed. I'm using the waffle. This hexagon waffle maker looks really cool. Actually very good as far as suppressor options for these platforms as well. And again, you can change your sights out, do some different things, but I am using the Vortex Razor because, again, I want to have the ability to go close and far, which is going to help us to be able to do that. I want to also show just very quickly, we're on the short barrel version. This is one of the first times I've ever been able to see this in a usable weapon. I need to clarify the statement before I go ahead and do this. I'm gonna take this waffle maker off. You can see we jump to 100 ergonomics. Now I am gonna put this RRD on, which is a very good muzzle brake, which I think makes this certainly still usable. Obviously we lose the ability to go suppressed. We actually lose a few points, or gain a few points rather, when it comes to recoil for both by putting this on here, but we stay at 100 ergonomics. I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen that, and that's really crazy to me. So I really considered testing it this way, but that's not how I would normally run this. We may do that in the future just to see how it goes. Yeah, I have a spare one actually. I bought an additional one of these. I have personally never seen that, and that's pretty crazy. So if you're interested on just fully maximizing your ergonomics, AK, SAG AK, you can go ahead and do it. So it's been a long enough intro. I am going to show this really quick. I do plan to run a 60 rounder with a 30 rounder backup, 60 rounds in my butt. And you can see even with the 60 rounder and the negative 16 ergonomics penalty, we're still at 67. So very usable. I'm looking forward to giving this thing a go. Again, we'll run the long barrel version if we have an unsuccessful first raid, or we'll swap if we have a good first raid. Again, I am going armorless so I can get Swift 1 done. We're closing in. We have 7 more to go. So we're headed over to Woods to be able to do that. I want to just quickly show, because I always forget to do this, where can you pick these up from? So you can get these from Skier. And actually, from an overall price perspective, I personally don't think it's too bad, although to get the modifications that I had on it was relatively expensive because I am buying essentially the top tier in a lot of the slots. So do please keep that in mind. But 72,000 for the base weapon, you put a foregrip, maybe you just put a hexagon suppressor on this thing and a simple sight. You have a very usable weapon up front. The stats on this thing are actually pretty good. 76 ergonomics out the gate, 62 and 170 for a recoil perspective. So again, foregrip, maybe a silencer and a sight. You are absolutely in business with this thing. And then you have, for about 9K more or a little over, you can get the short version. I need to look to see. I want to say that these are available starting at, so the standard version, the long version is available at level 2, and then you are able to pick up the short version at Skier level 3, in case you're looking at picking these up. And I think it's a buy limit of 2 for each, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, 3 for the standard version, and I believe it was 2. Oh, it's 3 for the short. So you can pick up 3, which gives you a lot of options to be able to run these things. So, all that being said, let's get to the action. Not familiar with the series, we take these guns in, we push PvP, and we see what happens. So let's go do that. All right, let's see what Woods brings us here. Some rain. Wonderful. I go up to 100. I think I know where I am. Yeah, I do. Interesting spawn. We went 6:30 a.m. because it was just the best option. Ooh, you know what? What if the boys were here? Standing out in the open, it's gonna get me fried is what's gonna happen. It's so quick. Woo! See what we got here. We have to play this as kind of a specific way. We can be aggressive, but we have to be really smart with our positioning, because we don't have any armor. So hopefully we can get some options for some head taps, a little bit of longer range interaction, mid-range interaction. I mean, I'm not really here to loot, but holy loot. Loot that, man. I guess that's why you come over here, right? This place is nuts sometimes. Said I'm not here to loot. Here I am looting this container. Oh, I'm sorry. Ah, dang. Okay. Where did this guy go? I just can't tell where this guy went. I thought I heard him to the right, but he'd be blowing up right now if that was the case. Armorless and helmetless in this situation. It's not great for us. I just feel like I'm gonna get popped. I don't know where this guy is. You know what, boys? There's a reason. There is a reason I like. Can't tell if I heard something or if I'm crazy. And it could be both. Wow. There's a reason we like this gun. This guy's killed the guy? Well, there's 2 Swift 1 kills down. What am I doing? This is dropping like really, really close to me. Honestly, considering holding it. Part of me now is like, get the hell out of here because I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I wasn't really paying attention. I was just like, oh, that's really, really close. And I didn't stop loading my magazine. Those sound like reg scabs. That guy had a second gun on his back, though. Could have just been a player with an SVD. Popping people. Maybe really stupidly. Oh, that's an SKS. Ah. He's dead somewhere, I'll bet. Yeah, that's a guard SKS right here. There he is. Good ammo, not worth. Oh, we did hear him. We found him. I think I'm just gonna roll out. Gonna reset here. And we'll take our other version in. All right, so finish that one up. Pretty happy with this. We made a pretty nice transition. I honestly got lucky on the second guy to get into a headshot. But just the ability to put rounds, the velocity on this gun is so fast that even in a close range 9 and 14.5 meter situation, I obviously kind of got a drop on those guys too. So they definitely had a little bit of disorientation figuring out that they were getting shot at. That was wonderful. So thanks to them for some kills for Swift one. Happy with that. Got some scav kills on top of that. Damage feels like we punch right through basically everything, running the ammo that we have with just a little bit of a armor pen, so not too shabby. And ammo use to hit count actually not bad, to be frank. We fired some extra rounds at that second guy, so I wasn't sure if he was dead or he laid down. Okay, so I just also want to throw out really quick, in case anybody's wondering, we found some really good loot too. Moonshine, I don't know again if this key is worth, but a VHS, the checkpoint key, picked up those U-locks. Some really nice guns, nicely modded SVD and M4 from those two guys. We got some sights, some good ammo. That was just a good raid. I'm very happy with that. And happy we were able to get that done. So I'm going to swap out. I'm going to use the long barreled for the normal standard carbine version of this thing. We'll swap some mags up, jump into another one. Okay, so in my haste, may not have swapped to the regular version of the weapon. God dang it. Sorry. Same spawn. Let's see what happens. I apologize for that. I don't anticipate there would have been any difference. That's where we're at. That's good. Chunko. Oh, piece of candy. I gotta check. See if the boys are here. See if we get just absolutely rinsed. By the boys, I'm talking about the goons, because the goons can't spawn over here. Part of me also wants to kind of push that way, because there could be a player that heads up over there. I'll wait to hear if I'll wait to see or hear if there's any shots that way. Last time we were here, this guy was here very, very quickly too. Usually run in here thinking that we're pretty well safe. Wasn't necessarily the case this last time. And I'm not here to loot, but I'm gonna loot. Dude, there's no reason you shouldn't ever come check this. Twice now we found some just bananas things. Hey, an MP5. Get in really big trouble, we'll use that. Is he up again? I gotta push over there. I'd love to try to get this guy. Am I tripping? Did I hear something? Dude, I am tripping. I fired. No. I did hear someone. Oh, man. Oh, that's frustrating. GG's. GG's. It didn't even say that I fired. Oh, man. I didn't hear the sound, so I don't think I got it off anyways. Good shot. We lined right up. Nice shot by that guy. Dang, I knew I heard somebody. I knew I heard somebody. The light rain screws me so bad sometimes. I would rather have like a heavy downpour, because then I don't think you get some of the ambient noise, or obviously no rain in that situation. All right, so let's wrap up here. You probably heard my thoughts from that first interaction. I actually really do like this gun. I think its availability at skier level 2 is going to make this a pretty popular option for me going forward in future wipes at the outset, or using this like pretty early. A lot of times we've talked about things like the ADAR and a few other weapons being really good early game. SKS is another one that usually gets a decent amount of love because, one, it's easy to mod, two, it's relatively accessible and relatively cheap. I definitely think this weapon is a little bit on the higher end once you fully get it modified to kind of how we have on the screen here. It can be a little bit more expensive. The waffle maker is a pretty expensive razor. Vortex razor is pretty expensive, and a few of the other attachments are. However, I don't feel like you need to do a lot with this, especially if you can find a good optic. Any variable optic will do. You can throw an Elcan, you throw a razor, you throw a voodoo on this thing. If you get access to some of that, or are lucky enough to find that early game, I think it's really beneficial. For now, as far as where we are in wipe, I actually think this has some good viability too. I personally would think that this is a mid to longer range gun. Just keep that in mind. I think that makes the most sense for this. I think you're going to be able to get those engagement distances. As you saw from our clip, you absolutely can get some kills with this close range. It's got to be head taps, or you got to be in that space. You can certainly get outgunned by some of the other popular options out there that are running full auto, but this thing definitely stands up. Ammo is also going to be a thing that you should very much consider. Again, we're using really top tier ammo here, but I think BT or BP would work really well. Obviously, BS is going to be another really good option. So as you stack that stuff up, especially early wipe when you're probably picking it up, I think is a really good option. Now, obviously, you got to find a way to get it. You can barter trade for at least BS with Purpore and find opportunities to pick that stuff up. If you have ammo sitting around and you haven't used any kind of AK style, especially 5.45 weapon in a while, give this thing a run. I think you would actually find pretty enjoyable. It definitely is a little bit different being single shot, but it absolutely will send these rounds. So again, I've enjoyed it. I've really liked it. It's not going to be meta, I think, by any stretch of the imagination, just because it is single fire. But if you're looking for a really good option to run some of that 5.45x39 ammo, this is definitely it. I personally would take this over probably most of the AK platforms. RPK would be a little bit different. I think I would probably prefer to run that maybe in lieu of this, just again for that full auto option. But other than that, this thing absolutely slays. So if you've had a chance to run it and play around with it, let me know your feedback down below. If you have not, give it a run, see if you like it, mod it out, trick it out, have some fun with this thing, and I think you'd be surprised on how well you can end up doing it with it. Obviously, we had two unfortunate head taps there. I really wish I would have been able to at least get that trade with that guy, but we clicked in just a second too late, and it is what it is. And then that guy in customs, he owned us. That happens sometimes. It is what it is. GG's to those fellas. All around, enjoyable. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. More weapon testing to come, so stick around if you really like the series. Thank you for all the support on the channel. Put a quick plug in here for YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Definitely let me know down below if you have some other weapon ideas that you want me to give a run. We recently did one for the 300 Blackout, I believe it was the SIG MCX, and that got actually a lot of positive views and things like that. So if you're interested, go check that out. And I'm always looking for different ideas. I have a couple on tap that I do want to try. I've got a shotgun, interestingly enough, for one of our barter only weapon testings, as well as I've got another 2 platforms, actually 2 sniper rifles I want to give a go and see how they perform. But always looking for additional options. I'm also going to flash some socials at you: Twitter, Twitch, Discord, TikTok. We stream Friday, Saturday, Sunday around 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, randomly throughout the week we can as well. So come give us a follow. We have some fun. You can probably see we're getting pretty close to Kappa here. I'm 2 items away and a couple of levels, so hopefully we can get that knocked out. And we've just been vibing, having a good time, getting some raids in, and honestly rushing a lot of marked room because I'm trying to find my last 2 items. But give us some follows over there. Check out our other socials. We'd love to have you around. Stop into a stream, and just yeah, thanks for clicking on this one. Thanks for checking it out. I've been Doc, average gamer guys. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you next Escape from Tarkov weapon testing video. Peace.